Hey, this is Callan from Integral Lifestyle Design. Today I want to talk to you about what to do if things don't go your way. So, for example, you might have seen the podcast that I started. So, I had 5 episodes in a row, I had a good streak, but unfortunately, this day being Wednesday when the podcast came out, I wasn't able to get an episode out. And that's due to various reasons. That's due to I was in Thailand for 2 weeks, so I recorded those episodes prior to Thailand and got back. Also, caught a cold and a bunch of other things. Also, the guy I was going to do the podcast with this week had internet problems, so we're still going to do it, but we've postponed it. But because of that, there's no episode today for the podcast. And you can plan in advance and do a lot of things to avoid that, but that's just how it was today. I wasn't able to get an episode out in time. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, when they have something like this across any metric of their life, say they couldn't get to the gym for 2 weeks because something happened, or they weren't able to focus on their studies, or they relaxed on their diet, or something else. Everything in your life has momentum. So if you miss one workout, it's easier to miss a second workout. If you miss two, then it's easier to miss four, so on, until you've basically lost that good habit. Because you'll notice with self-improvement, what happens is a lot of people yo-yo, so they go up and they're doing the right things and they come down. They come up, they come down, right? That's like the majority of people, okay? Now what happens is maybe someone wants to get in the gym, it's January 1st, they build up, they build up, they build up, maybe 1 month, and then they crash and then they just stop. And then people delay it. So they say, oh yeah, next month I'll get fit. Next month I'll release another episode of the podcast. Next month I'll do this. So even though I wasn't able to release an episode of the podcast this week, that doesn't mean that the habit will go. That doesn't mean that the habit should die. That's just simply a fact I wasn't able to release one this week. That doesn't mean I won't be able to release one next week or the week after or so on, right? I'm still able to be consistent because it's about having a good practice the majority of the time. Sometimes you'll slacken off or you'll do the wrong thing or whatever because you're human. You're not a robot, you're not a machine. You're not what some YouTubers talk about where you just hustle 24/7, and I don't think anyone truly does that. Maybe the people that do that is like a very small number of people that are like hyper focused, right? That's not the majority. So basically, what I'm saying is you will probably fall off whatever it is you're trying to do or build or create. You'll probably have a day where something goes wrong. You'll have a bad day where you'll give in to some impulse or lack of motivation, or something will happen externally where what you wanted to achieve will not be achieved. And as a result, you might feel bad about it. But here's the thing, that can be a slippery slope. So make sure that you don't let it be a slippery slope. Make sure that you continue to persevere and just acknowledge that you couldn't do it. Regardless, maybe that's motivational, psychological, you just didn't do it for some reason, or something happened where you physically could not do it. Either way, just acknowledge it happened, but don't make it a habit, right? Acknowledge that something happened outside of your control, or even within your control, that was not the desirable outcome, but then move beyond it. So say, okay, well, I couldn't achieve this here, but I'll achieve it next. I'm cold. Achieve it next week or the week after or so on. You always need to have that perseverance. So today I thought, all right, there's nothing on the channel being uploaded. So whilst there's no podcast, I'm going to make a little video just basically giving you this message because I think it's important. I think a lot of people, they fall off at some point on whatever they're doing in their life. And if it's something ambitious and difficult, it's harder for them to get back on. It's harder for them to continue. And that's essentially the little message I wanted to drop today. It's to be consistent, 80-20, right? That's how I personally do it. 80% of the time I'm doing the right thing. 20% of the time I'll sort of let myself go and chill and whatever. And maybe that's not the number one way to success. Maybe you can grind harder than that. But personally, I've got a relative level of everything I want in life. And 80-20 works for me. You've got to find what works for you. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking parts of me felt odd about not being able to release an episode this week. And I did try. I generally tried to record one, but due to internet issues, it didn't work. And I left it pretty late. So Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. But in exchange, I thought I'll make this little video just to give you a push. Just to give you a push. And not a push that's cruel or mean. I'm not trying to hammer you. I'm just saying that if something happened when you couldn't achieve what you wanted to achieve, that's okay. You can't change the past. You can learn from the past, but you can't change the past. So you just have to acknowledge whatever's happened. Even if you did something terrible or something that you really regret, it doesn't really matter because you've done it. It's happened. It's already passed. You might have to sort of bear the consequences of whatever you did, but it's done. But what you can do is you can learn from that, and you can learn from the future. So if you go to the gym, 20 days in a row, or for 4 weeks in a row, whatever it is, and then the 5th week you can't go, or you're lazy and you don't go, or you get sick and you can't go, or whatever, then you just acknowledge it. You just acknowledge that it happened. You don't hate yourself. You don't throw negative emotion at yourself because you couldn't do something. You simply acknowledge it, you accept it, and then you say, okay, well, next week I'm going to start going to the gym again. And then Monday comes, you'll have that little bit of slide where you'll feel like, oh, I've missed 4 days, 5 days, I can miss another one. It's okay, I'll start the week after. But that's what you've got to catch. That's what you've got to catch and shift. And if you can catch and shift that at the right time, then you can get back on the horse, so to say. And you can say, all right, well, I had a week off the gym or I had a week off, whatever, but now we're going to get back on it. Monday comes, you need to have that discipline, that motivation to spark it up again and to recreate the habit. So that's the reality. I think when you're a human, there's days where you're not going to do everything perfectly. If you write out a schedule, there's days where you won't achieve everything, and you shouldn't beat yourself up about it, but you should also learn from it. There's a balance. You don't just go into a airy-fairy headspace of, oh, it didn't happen, oh, it'll happen eventually. But at the same time, you shouldn't be beating yourself up because you didn't achieve something. What matters is that you get better over time. Not that you're constantly up, because that's not how it works. Most of the time you go up, you come down, you go up a bit, you come down here again, then you go up again, and so on. Go down a bit, go up a bit. But over years, over decades, you do have a trajectory of getting better and better, of going up and up in every area of your life. Be that with your money, with your relationships, with romance, with anything in your life. You should be improving. You should be improving as a human being. Because we enjoy it. Human beings enjoy improvement. They enjoy the idea of building towards something. Be that a physical goal or a more spiritual sort of mental headspace or whatever it is you want to achieve. Humans like that trajectory, and especially the kind of people that the YouTube algorithm is throwing a video like this at, about purpose, about lifestyle design, all the stuff we talk about on this channel. Generally, as you get older and change, you like to do this. People like to progress. Why do people play so many video games? It's because they're hooked on that feeling of progress, and video games probably give it to you faster than you get it in the real world. And that's pretty well it. It's if you fall off the horse, get back on. Don't hate yourself for falling off the horse. Everyone falls off the horse. People that are world-class at things now absolutely failed on their way, almost all the time. That's just how it is. Sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes you control them and make a mistake and you do the wrong thing. Or sometimes something happens you can't control, which also results. I had to get surgery. My appendix burst. And I had a week in hospital and another week healing. And then I couldn't go to Thailand because I was injured in the school holidays, meaning as a result, I had to go a month later. And as a result of that, I lost money. I lost thousands and thousands of dollars due to that. So I couldn't control that. But I got back on the horse. I kept about my life. And that's what I plan to do with missing an episode of the podcast. And all in all, that's how I think it should be. Keep it simple. If you make a mistake, acknowledge it, learn from it, move on. Don't reminisce in the past forever. Don't beat yourself up for things you did in the past because you can't control them. Once they've happened, they've happened. Cool. And apart from that, yeah, we're going to start throwing some energy back into this channel. We're going to throw some energy into my improvement. I want to help you to improve. We're just going to see where it goes. We're going to flow with it for a while and just see what sticks. See what people actually want to watch. If there's anything you want to see, leave a comment. Let me know because I'm happy to make all sorts of different content, and I'm sort of going to look to experiment and explore over the coming months. I'm going to be going over to South America in a couple of weeks for about 4 months. So I'll shoot some content over there too. And, do people want to see travel content? Do people want to see me exploring the world? Do people want to know how I do that? Do people want to do it themselves? Do they need some motivation there? Do people want, anything? Anything as long as it's in like the adventure sort of self-improvement space of people wanting to have cool experiences, then I'm happy to talk about it. So super off the cuff video, super improvised. But anyhow, peace out, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you in the next one.